Teacher AJ is a faculty member of the Department of Family, Life and Child Development at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. She is a licensed professional teacher and has extensive experience working with the preschool children. So she currently teaches undergraduate courses in the Bachelor of Science in Family Life and Child Development program at the same department. And she also served at the UP Child Development Center as the teacher in charge of the toddlers class. Passionate about play-based learning, Teacher AJ is committed to creating, nurturing, and developmentally appropriate experiences for young children. So she actively contributes to research and extension work focused on early child education and inclusive curriculum development. So today, Teacher AJ will give us a talk about early childhood education in the Philippines, and then it will be about 30 minutes long, and then followed by our 15-minute Q&A section. So you can understand more, okay, about how culture might shape the development of ECE. So now I would like to pass the time to Teacher AJ.
Good evening, everyone. So thank you again for inviting me, Dr. Sam, to share about early childhood education in the Philippines. So I'm very honored to be part again of this collaboration with Education University of Hong Kong. Again, I'm Teacher AJ. Let me share some of my experiences with you about early childhood in the Philippines. So again, I have been in the field for 10 years now. I am a preschool teacher and also a college instructor at the University of the Philippines. And I'm teaching college courses about child development programs and assessment for young children. So for this evening, I would like to share with you an overview of the early childhood education in the Philippines. Also, to talk about the different types of early childhood programs and an example of a child development program in the country. So I'll be sharing our very own laboratory school in the department in a while. So to begin, okay, let me share with you first how we view the child in the Philippines. So we believe that the child is one of the most important assets of our nation. Every effort should be exerted to promote his welfare and enhance his opportunities for a useful and happy life. So despite the political and socioeconomic challenges here in our country and also our growing population, the Philippines still remain committed to providing learning programs and services that supports our youngest citizens. So from an early age, we believe that children must be cared for, nurtured, and be given all the opportunities to develop holistically, to prepare him for lifelong learning, and in the future, be an active participant in our society. So this is the current education landscape in the Philippines. So we have the formal education ladder that starts at kindergarten. We have a 1 year of mandatory kindergarten and 6 years of elementary or grade school, followed by secondary or junior and senior high school, and of course, tertiary level or college and post college degrees like master's and doctoral degrees. So it was only in 2011 where we had the required or mandatory kindergarten in the Philippines. It is a major milestone in our country as we have now increased the level or increased the number of centers that can provide preschool or kindergarten education. So before entering the compulsory kindergarten level, children below 5 years old may also attend early childhood programs. So that I will be discussing those programs in a while. Still, the early childhood sector continues to face several challenges, and the most common challenge we have is the perception that children are too young or it's too early for them to go to school. So we still have low participation rates in early learning programs or preschool. So as of now, current data tells us that around 30% of 3-year-old to 4-year-old children attend preschool. So it's a very low participation. However, in kindergarten, it increases to around 70% since it's already a mandatory in the country. So in the Philippines, early childhood education refers to the provision of educational and development service for young children from birth to age 6. So it focuses on holistic development through health, nutrition, and early learning programs. So this is governed by two main agencies in the country, the Early Childhood Care and Development Council for children and for programs for children from 0 to 4 years old, and the Department of Education, who oversees the kindergarten program for children aged 5 to 6 years old. So we also have two council, the ECCD Council and the Department of Education, who works hand in hand for this early education programs. So commonly, we know ECE programs here as Early Childhood Care and Development Programs, or ECCD. This kind of child development program aim to provide holistic care and education to children. So as we all know, holistic care means we take into account their social, emotional, physical, psychological, intellectual, and sometimes even spiritual domain. Since we are a very religious country, almost 90% of our citizens are Christian or Catholic. So it's very abundant to have church-led preschools as well. So it can vary. ECCD programs vary in terms of setting, focus of intervention, types of strategies, and also the target clients, which are based on the age of the children. So we have several programs, different kinds for different needs of the children as well. So this is strengthened now by the recently passed Republic Act 12199, which institutionalizes a comprehensive early childhood care and development system. So just last year, we had this law which features the requirement for every province, every city, and every municipality to have an ECCD office responsible for implementing and coordinating early learning programs at the local level. So all cities and municipalities now need to have their very own child development centers. So this law also focuses in professionalizing our child development teachers and child development workers. So before, we do not have yet a standard set of requirements, but now we have, through this law, the minimum qualifications, training standards, and to promote also increasing salary grades for our child development teachers. So we anchor our curriculum, our framework in the National Early Learning Framework. So our programs are guided by this framework in order for us to deliver quality early childhood care and development programs to all children from age 0 to 6 years old. So this also serves as our reference for the formulation of policies, standards, and development of future programs and services that can also enhance the practice of early childhood care and education in the country. So this is designed to guide ECCD program developers and implementers to promote more creation of early learning environments for the children, and also to promote strong partnerships among families, teachers, and other stakeholders in order to make the children their primary, especially the primary caregivers, for them to also collaborate in providing quality early learning programs for the children. So we have ECCD service providers, or those who are mainly in contact or who interacts with the children. So we have various professionals, paraprofessionals, and also volunteer caregivers. So of course, we have our child development teachers. Child development teachers are those who hold a bachelor's degree, preferably with units in early childhood education, and also has passed the board licensure exam for professional teachers. We also have child development workers. So we call them child development workers if they hold an associate degree in early childhood education or at least senior high school graduate and has passed the National Competency Assessment for Child Development Workers. They can also be a child development worker even if they are a high school graduate but has finished at least 2 years of tertiary education and also passed the same assessment by the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority for Child Development Workers. So together with the teachers and the workers are the volunteer parents. So some child development centers, they have sign-ups for parents who can help in the class since there are small number of teachers. To share, the average number of student-teacher ratio here is 1 teacher to around 20 children. So they need parent volunteers to help out as well. And together with these service providers, we also consider the social workers, community health workers, our nutrition scholars, and the rural health midwives as part of our ECCD service providers. So for the types of ECCD programs, we have 2 types. So ECCD programs can be implemented through center-based programs or home-based programs. So first, center-based programs are formal settings where children attend structured learning activities inside the child development centers or preschools. So child development centers are also called daycare centers in some areas, and they are also categorized based on the age group and the type of service provided. So on the other hand, home-based programs the ECCD providers bring the early learning and care into the child's home or community through the trained parent facilitators or caregivers. So I'll first share about the center-based programs. So we start the center-based programs from the infant toddler early development program, which caters to children from 0 to 2 years old. So here, infant toddlers are provided with experiences from child development teachers and workers. So they give activities that enhances exploration, learning, and discovery, which are also implemented together with their parents and caregivers. So usually they meet every week, once a week, in the Child Development Center, where teachers and parents meet in small groups so the teachers can share and explain and demonstrate also the weekly activities for the children. And then the rest of the week, after their once a week meeting, they can implement the activities also at home. So it is the parents who conduct the planned activities with their children at home. And then the teachers have scheduled assessments for the infants and toddlers using our ECCD checklist, which are designed for Filipino children in order to monitor the child's development and also as a guide in future activity plan. So after infant toddlers, they can also enroll or join the child development centers or daycare centers if they are 3 to 4 years old. So child development centers serve children aged 3 years old, and they do play-based and developmentally appropriate activities. So typically, children attend 2 hours of daily sessions from Mondays to Fridays, where they can practice and address various aspects of their development. So activities that um, aligns with how they can improve cognitive, social, emotional, and also their physical domains. And for kindergarten programs, they are children from 5 to 6 years old. So mostly at this age, they focus on school readiness. So now kinder is compulsory and mandatory as an entry stage to basic education in the Philippines. So they are guided in engaging activities, creative outputs that are still child-centered, and to have a transition from their informal experience to the formal schooling experience for grades 1 or the elementary level. So we believe that this is a critical year for the children to have in order for them to prepare for their formal schooling. So that's our center-based programs. So for home-based programs, it is an initiative designed to reinforce the parents and the caregivers as their primary caregivers. So we often provide home-based programs for children and families who face challenges in accessing center-based programs. So if they are not able to go to the centers, they can invite teachers to help them with their home-based programs. For example, if they live in far areas, or if public transportation is unavailable, or it is unsafe because of the weather or calamities, that's when we implement or we promote also our home-based programs. So it includes neighborhood-based playgroups, family childcare programs, parent education, and also home visiting programs. So apart from those center-based and home-based programs, we also have private preschools or NGO-led early childhood programs. So in the Philippines, a greater percentage of students in private preschools or those enrolled in private preschools receive multiple years of early childhood education, since the free education starts at kinder in public schools. Most of those who are enrolled in private schools are from middle to upper class citizens. So they pay for their school. And a majority of that are still church-based groups, since we are majority a Catholic country. So they operate early learning programs and have innovative or do alternative approaches to child development. So we have an abundance of schools that also follow the Montessori program, the Waldorf approach, and also progressive approaches to early learning, like in private preschools. And also there are also homeschool providers for those who are unable to go to their centers. So even if we have our public daycares and child development centers available in their barangays, still the majority prefers the private institutions since they offer specialized programs for early childhood education. Okay, with that, I would like to share an example of a child development program, a public child development program that is our flagship in the country. So I would like to introduce the UP Child Development Program. It is the first progressive school in the country and located here in the University of the Philippines. It is established in 1957, so we are now celebrating our 68th founding anniversary or our 68th birthday this year. And we cater to children from as early as 3 months to 5 years old. So this is a laboratory school, which means we also invite students like college and master students to observe. So they are allowed to observe the children. We have an observation deck where they can study about the development of the children. And since we have students that are 3 months, we have our infant development program, which is the first also in the country, and also a mixed age group called the vertical class. So we have classes that are heterogeneous or a mix of 3 to 5 years old or mix of 2 and 3 years old. So the next pictures that you'll see are from my previous classes in UPCDC. So I've been teaching here since 2022. Here, so UPCDC or the UP Child Development Program adheres to a developmental, holistic, and humanistic view of the child, understanding child development in the context of the family and the wider societal influences, including the school and the community. So as a progressive school, we believe that teachers are the facilitators of learning who understand and respect the individuality and uniqueness of each child. So we plan our activities based on how developmentally appropriate and relevant they are, and also allow children to actively participate so they can gain more a learning experience in the process. So the teachers are also they have to individually know each child, monitor and assess them regularly. So we can also nurture a strong partnership, not just with the children, but also with their home and the community where the child belongs. So we also uphold that each child is unique. Children develop and learn through dynamic interplay of the different domains of development. So such as physical, social, emotional, cognitive, and that children are not passive, but active participants in their own learning and development. So young children, as we all know, naturally learn through play, hands-on experiences, and interaction with their physical and social environment. And being a laboratory preschool, we also primarily use we are also primarily used by the department and by the college in order for students in the bachelor's and diploma of family life and child development as their practice ground for teaching, observation, and training for preschool management and development of instructional materials and research. So from time to time, we accept students from undergraduate who implement activities or who design teacher-made materials and implement them in each of the classes. So here is a sample of our classroom. So since the COVID-19 pandemic, we have already returned to in-person classes, and we were also the first one to open our doors again and implement in-person preschool classes in Metro Manila. So we have research-based policies and protocols in order to have a safe reopening and continuation of our services and programs. So in total, here in UPCDC, we have 8 classrooms that can be used for our preschool classes. So 1 per age group. So we start with the infants, toddlers, 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s class. So there are enough space to accommodate all children, teachers, and also we have student teachers and staff. So per classroom, per age group, it varies also in number. So younger children have less. Infants have a maximum of 7 students, toddlers 10, and our biggest class size is the 5s class, which have 18 students and 1 teacher and around 3 student teachers to help out also. So in terms of the classroom areas, we divide our classroom into learning areas where children can do structured and unstructured activities. So some of the common classroom areas are dramatic play, where they do pretend play, manipulatives area, where we also store blocks, puzzles for fine motor skills, arts and writing area, reading area or reading corners, meeting area where they have circle time, and also a wash area which is designed or scaled to their size also. So these learning areas may also differ based on the needs and the age of the children. So for example, for infants and toddlers, they have additional sensory play areas or breastfeeding and rest area for the babies. So here are the learning areas inside the classroom. So now let's go outside. So we also have shared spaces such as our outdoor play area or the playground. So each class have their own time to play in our playground. We believe that this is an important part of the routine, and we need to have ample space to conduct outdoor activities also where children can actively play freely. So aside from the outdoor playground, another shared space is the snack area. So before the pandemic, we eat inside the classroom. So now it is moved outdoors in compliance also to the recommended health and safety protocols. So we prepare the snacks for the children in our kitchen here in the center. So we have our own cook who prepares healthy meals for the children. So we can also integrate health and nutrition in our services and in our curriculum. So we have continuous partnership also with the other departments in the College of Home Economics. So we are based in the College of Home Economics. So we work together with the Department of Food Science and Nutrition, as well as the Department of Hotel, Restaurant, and Institution Management. And at times, when it is typhoon season or rainy season, we also convert this indoor space into a indoor playground. So we can still have active play outside of our classrooms. So here is an example of our routine and our weekly plan. So we begin our classes. We have 2 sessions, one for the morning at 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock a.m. and one at the afternoon, 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. So typically 3 hours per session per class. And we also follow the university schedule, which means we don't have Monday classes. So in UP, we start our classes from Tuesdays until Fridays only. And we have fixed and flexible routines. We usually begin with free play or work play where children can go to the different learning areas and explore the activities and play equipment there. We also have balance of quiet and active activities. whole group and small group session, and individual activities. So we try to balance structured and unstructured also to help in management with of the children's behavior towards all the activities in the day. And every week, we also send out suggested activities or asynchronous activities for the families so they can continue the learning experiences at home. So in relation to the activities that they do in school, they can also try to do it at home as well. So in general, the center's goal is, of course, for the holistic and optimal development of children through the provision of safe, secure, and stimulating environment while fostering strong partnerships with their families and immediate communities. So our school is a safe and secure and also a stimulating environment where children can be children. School also promotes the involvement of families and communities as partners in enhancing children's welfare and development. So we now go to the summary. So in summary, overall, early childhood education in the Philippines focuses, of course, in the holistic development of children from birth to 6 years old. So we integrate in education also services for health, nutrition, and social aspects. So guided by the various frameworks and legislations, we emphasize that learning begins at birth. So from birth and supported through nurturing care, family involvement, and community partnership. So for our challenges, since we have programs that are center-based and home-based, we still have several challenges, including the limited access to some communities, gaps in resources, and cultural beliefs about early schooling. Even if public daycares and public child development centers are available, we still are challenged or hindered by some of our cultural attitudes, for example, toward early schooling, since majority of parents and families still believe that they can begin school at 6 years old, but actually there are a lot of programs that are offered as early as 0 or from infants and toddlers. So when viewed across cultures, the Philippine approach to early childhood education also shares common values with many countries, such as belief in play-based learning, family engagement, and importance of early intervention for lifelong success. However, our cultural and contextual factors still shape how ECE is practiced. For instance, in Western contexts, they emphasize independence and cognitive skills in early childhood education. For us Filipinos, early childhood education often highlights social relationships, respect for elders, community belonging, if you've noticed, and also moral development. So still reflects our country's collectivist and family-centered culture. And ultimately, ACE in the Philippines, like any other parts of the world, recognize that early childhood is a critical period for human development. And the way we care and provide our education still varies depending on our society's values, traditions, and available resources. And this cross-cultural perspective hopes to underscore the importance also in designing early childhood programs that are not only developmentally appropriate, but also culturally responsive and contextually relevant to all the children that we serve. And for that, I thank you very much for listening to my very brief sharing about early childhood education in the Philippines. If you have questions later, I'll be willing to answer some that you are maybe interested or curious about the early childhood in the Philippines. And thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Sam, and to all the education students in Education University of Hong Kong.
Very much for teacher AJ's wonderful presentation. So I guess I think one interesting thing is that I think the Philippine setting has some similarities with our Chinese setting, but also some differences. So I would like to have ask questions now, but I will take the opportunity to ask one to two questions to for you first, and then if you have any other questions, we still have time, so you can raise your hand and then ask them. So I'm just curious because you just mentioned that the early child education curriculum in the Philippines emphasize a lot about social relationship, about community belongingness, things like that. So do you think that the parents in the Philippines value much about academic achievement of their kids? Because in Hong Kong, I noticed that the parents, some of them will send their kids to some tutorial classes, or they even have some private tutoring starting from the early childhood years. So, and then they really like the school to give them a lot of homework. Okay, I'm not sure whether you noticed that, but I heard that because we have typhoon, the typhoon holiday, okay, some time ago, and then I heard that some parents said, "Oh my God, okay, there are some typhoon holiday. The teachers don't have time to give my kids more homework for the weekend." Okay, and then oh, it's really horrible. Okay? So how about, and then indeed, I'm not so sure whether you know that in Hong Kong recently, the government is discussing one initiative. I'm not so sure whether you know that. They imagine that for typhoon, if let's say host typhoon number 3 or above, the schools will be suspended. Am I right? So the government is studying whether the students can have Zoom class at home even during those typhoon days. Okay, so how about the setting in the Philippines? Yeah, can you elaborate a bit more? Can you share with us a bit more?
Yes, here it depends. The parents' involvement usually depends on their age. So for young children, they still don't give as much emphasis on academics. So they just want their children to enjoy school, and then they have more pressure for the kids starting at around elementary to high school, where it is in the more formal setting. So we also don't have homework. So there is a no homework policy also for preschools and also for elementary or grade school levels. However, we also have online or Zoom classes when there are typhoons. So we call it our synchronous classes or virtual classes where they are meeting with their teachers online, depending on the schedule of the teachers and the students. But they are usually not required for the children to join, since some parents are also hesitant in terms of exposure to gadgets, screen time. So some parents do not like joining online classes in order to limit the screen time of the children. But overall, they are more involved in programs. So we see their efforts also. um, Sometimes it is a challenge since they are waiting outside of the classrooms. So they are very involved, and they are sometimes very they forget the boundaries that they need, that the children also need to practice being independent, since they are watching their children from outside the classrooms. And the children are also hesitant to join the class because their parents are waiting. So they prefer to stay at home when they see their parents also. So in that way, it's different for us, since more the programs here for early childhood are more about socialization, not as much as preparation for formal school. It is during the kindergarten where they really learn to read, to write. So at 5 to 6 years old, that's when the parents also need to be reminded that they have to help also their children to prepare for formal schooling at grade school.
Yeah,
So
thank you
I
very
hope that clears it.
It's very clear. So because I noticed that in Hong Kong, maybe I share a bit also. So in Hong Kong, because the parents need to help their kids to apply for primary schools starting from K2, that is age 4 to 5. So therefore, they offer some interview class to the kids. They arrange some interview classes for them, even at age 4 to 5. So it can be horrible. But another thing that I'm interested in is I think it's very different. The situation is very different in Hong Kong and the mainland China. That is about I noticed that in the Philippines, the majority of the population is Catholic, am I right?
Yes.
So are there so do you think this Christian value or the Catholic values affects a lot play an important role in the early childhood education or yeah, can you share a bit?
Yes, some of our Catholic preschools here are also progressive in a way. So how they incorporate religion is through additional subjects. So they have, aside from the usual math, science, so they have Christian living, so they have a separate schedule or a block of time where they teach religion to the children. And usually it is only exclusive for private preschools who are church led. How in public schools or in public daycares, there are no religion classes. So it is non-sectoral. So it is not required. So if their parents are they want to teach their children about religion, they have Sunday schools. So it is during Sunday schools where they impart that Catholic beliefs or Christian beliefs with their own children. But in the general Monday to Friday classes, there are typically no subjects about religion except for church-led schools which embeds the religion in their curriculum.
Very much, yeah. So I because in Hong Kong we have different religious group running different kindergartens. So let's say some of them do not have any religious background, some of them are Christian or Catholic background, some are Buddhist background, some are Taoist background. Dao, do you know what's that? Yeah. So there are many different types. So parents sometimes I notice that they would choose the kindergartens based on the religious background of the kindergarten. And then do you have any questions for J?
Hello, teacher AJ. I'm curious about the transition. I mean, the transition from kindergarten to primary school. Because in mainland China, lots of kindergarten will organize a visit that children can visit their future primary school. And also, some parents may ask children to join in the extracurricular to learn the primary school knowledge in advance. So I'm curious about how the situation in Philippines.
Okay, thank you for your question. Usually transitions from preschool to kindergarten to early early levels or elementary levels depend on the institution. So if the parents enroll their child in just one institution from preschool to elementary to high school, for sure they have a transition program, their very own transition program. But usually they have different schools for preschools, and then they change elementary and then they change high school. With that, it is the parents who are involved in transitioning their children. What we usually do as teachers, we just give our own suggestions, comments on how we can help the children transition from one school to another. But overall, nationwide, we do not have any specific programs in order to transition. What we have is in terms of curriculum, we try to have ladder or a spiral curriculum where there's skills from preschool to elementary can match, or we can help them align in the future through the spiral curriculum, or at least in a way we help them prepare for what they need to learn from preschool to elementary and then to high school. But overall, transitions still depend on the institution, or from directly from the family or from the parents who will help their children get ready for the next level.
Okay, thank you, JJ. So, do you have any other question?
Hello, Teacher AJ. I have two questions. The first one is, I just heard about an infant development program in the Philippines called a vertical class, which is a mixed age class. For example, children from age 2 to 3 are in one class, or children aged from 3 to 5 are in another class. Is this mixed age class model used nationwide or in majority of kindergartens in Philippines? That's my first question. Second one is, I believe this approach must have many benefits, such as helping the children to develop their interpersonal skills. But I also wonder, has this mixed age class encountered any issues or drawbacks? Thank you.
Thank you. For vertical classes or mixed age groups, nationwide, we implement it through the child development centers. So all child development centers accept children from 3 to 4 years old. However, when they turn 5, they are automatically recommended for kindergarten. So that's for the nationwide policy. So usually 2 to 4 years old are in one classes in a child development center, because we also have, in terms of space, usually child development centers only have one classroom. So all age groups are accepted, whether they are 3 or 4. So it is in a way efficient for the teachers and also for the parents in their own small town, or we call barangay. With the issues for mixed age groupings, here in UP, we don't usually encounter challenges. However, we try to orient the parents before school starts that their child is part of a vertical class or mixed age group, so that they are also ready, that their children that are interacting with older or younger children. So most of our parents have positive positive what they call it, positive reactions to mixed age groupings, because they see the benefit that their child are able to relate either to a younger or an older classmate. Since when we go out into the real world, we also interact with different age groups. What is challenging is in terms of preparations and in terms of materials, since the teachers need to have different sets of materials or activities for the children. So we typically have for example, one activity, but we differentiate the skills based on the age. So a separate material for the 3s, separate for the 4s, separate for the 5s, but one general topic. So that's really what is challenging about mixed age grouping. It's how we prepare our materials for the children. But overall, there are more benefits for us than disadvantages.
Okay, thank you very much. So, do you have any other question? Okay,
I want to ask, do children with special needs in Philippines receive inclusive education with ordinary children? And the second one, what specific measures are taken in inclusive education? If so, can teachers conduct differentiate teaching method? Or will there be challenges in teaching for teachers? Thank you.
Yes. So we have we also do inclusive practices for children. Nationwide it is implemented that all preschools need to be inclusive in terms of practices, in terms of teaching. So this is already part of our pre-service program where teachers are trained to help identify especially developmental alerts or red flags. And in turn, we have what we call process for inclusion, where we have documentation and then recommendations also for special education. But in general, what we do is inclusion in our classrooms. So we try that we also train our teachers first. So that's the first step for us really. It is for the teachers to be well trained, well equipped in order to handle children with special needs. And then we also have service providers that can help early childhood teachers in case they need specialization or the child needs a more specialized approach. For example, those who need or who are hard of hearing, who needs translators or interpreters. We have our um council, special education in disability council, where teachers can ask for assistance also so that they can still continue with their activities, with implementing inclusive practices with their children. And we also have regular assessments, at least for younger age groups, around four assessments or every 3 months, and then for older children every 6 months, so that we can still continuously assess and provide our what the children needs or how we can help them in terms of um accommodations, and how we can help them access more services in or for early intervention also.
so one last question from this student.
Hi, yeah, I want to ask that will the kindergarten in Philippines or will teach any knowledge like word and mathematics, this kind of knowledge in the kindergarten?
For kindergarten teachers, they do have specialized subjects or subject areas like math, science, but currently they are modifying it that only the essential competencies are to be shared with children from 5 to 6 years old. So in general, what they try in preschools are more about competencies about self, family, community, but in terms of international or world relations, I don't think we have special topics or special subjects for our children, since we also have our mother tongue based, or where the teachers teach children in their mother tongue, or for example, the first language is Filipino. So all of the instructions, all of the subjects are also taught in their own language to help them be more to help them comprehend better the subjects in preparation for formal schooling. But in general, the common subjects that we have for kindergarten are usually early literacy and early numeracy. But yeah, I don't have any experiences yet about international, but for sure we have math also, and science and language.
Sure, that's very detailed and very good answer. So thank you very much for your time again. So maybe now give her teacher AJ a big hand again. Alright, so if you have any other topics, so you still have chances to talk to teacher AJ students, am I right? So you can interview each other. Okay. So thank you very much again. Good evening. Bye bye.
Thank you.